Is this thing on?
I
Sweet.
hope so. I pressed the button. That's my only job.
That's not your only
I've got
job.
a promotion.
Oh my gosh. So, it was St. Patrick's Day recently, and
Yes.
I did nothing because I worked.
Yeah. I was going to get a Shamrock Shake for the first time at McDonald's, but I didn't even do that. So
Oh my gosh.
thought I was going to be festive that day. Nope. I
Well, we
think I
have
did
other
laundry.
festive things that we can talk about that happened on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, in 1849.
Yeah. So let's roll that beautiful Lucky
Intro
Charms
and
goodness.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Magically
All right.
delicious. And
Let's do
go.
it. So you didn't get your Shamrock Shake.
No, I didn't, and I've yet to have one too. So I'll have to wait till next year, next St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I had a lot of friends who got them on the 17th, but I did not because I'm lactose intolerant.
And that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It is.
Yep. Oof.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back to the Beyond the Oblong Box, everyone. I am your hostess, Virginia Poe.
And I am your host who is back with a little bit of congestion and some coughing, but I'll hit the mute button as much as I can. Levi Leland, how is that? How is that for my title?
You actually sound a lot better.
I'm on the mend, but it's not great. Dayquil has been my best friend this past week and a
little
half.
kid germs.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Love it.
No. No. No.
Yeah.
So yes, recently it was indeed St. Patrick's Day. So of course, in Ireland, it is now modern times. It's more celebrated, kind of like a bank holiday. Here in the U.S., though,
everyone celebrates, no matter what.
My God,
ethnicity they come from. Whatever their heritage is, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. They dye their beer green. And
basically everyone in Wilmington is suddenly Irish.
Yeah. It's an excuse for everyone to drink at like 3 p.m. on a weekday. So
on a weekday, yeah. It's gotta love that.
God bless America.
Yeah. I had quite a few clients that were heading to the bars as soon as they were done visiting me on Thursday. Yeah. I was like, wow, okay, have one for me. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
So St. Patrick's Day actually was established by the church, the Catholic Church, that is, back in 1631.
Yes.
Which was many centuries, about 12?
Quite a few. Yeah, quite a few centuries ago.
After St. Patrick was actually here and gone.
Yeah.
So most of what we know as modern traditions in St. Patrick's Day now actually did start sometime around
1720s.
Well, I can tell you this, that in the 1720s, the church was very concerned about the one the one free day that people were getting from their observance of Lent.
Yes.
And some accounts were saying that it was getting out of hand. And I thought to myself,
way out of hand for those.
way out of hand?
Yeah.
How? I have questions. How out of hand was it? Because some of what I saw after I got off of work, little out of hand.
Yeah. Well, they didn't know that they just hadn't seen it yet.
I do believe they would absolutely blush hardcore. So a lot of the traditions that we know now for St. Patrick's Day, of course, originated in the 18th century. 1762 was the very first New York St. Patrick's Day parade.
Yeah,
which is quite a big deal. Of course, we have St. Patrick's Day parades in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Baltimore actually does have a really, really big St. Patrick's Day parade. Of course, there's Boston, clearly. I recently was at one actually in Ashbury Park, in Asbury Park in New Jersey, and that was a good time.
Oh, I'm sure.
I was at the end of the route where the pub was.
Yeah.
With a real Irish folk band.
Yep.
Bonus. Yeah, so that was fun. Let's see. Yes, so in the 1720s, the church was a little concerned with the out of hand things getting out of hand.
The day off from
Lent.
Oh, unscrupulous.
Whatever shall we do? Yes. So Irishmen. Of course, but nowadays, everyone becomes Irish. Oh boy.
Everyone's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
Yes, but there's a very special date from the 1800s that marks something very, very special and very, very important.
The topic of tonight.
Yes.
So March 17th, 1849. So that was St. Patrick's Day, of course.
Of course.
And that's when Poe had published Hop Frog.
Hop Frog.
So,
yep.
And it was published in the Flag of Our Union magazine. It was a periodical, I think, in Boston.
Yes.
Yeah. And this was a really a tale of revenge.
Oh, yes.
As is common in Poe's works. It's a tale of revenge. It's a tale about a jester, or for a very repugnant king that kind of mistreats the jester's little counterpart, his little woman crush in the story, Trippetta. And I think the king had
beautiful
striked
Trippetta.
her. Yeah, the beautiful little Trippetta. And now our friend is making his appearance.
It's Lucien. Lucien, do you have anything to bring to the conversation? No? Okay.
He's going to think about it.
I wasn't even paying attention. All of a sudden, cat in the lap.
Of course.
Not an episode of this podcast without a cat in the lap.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy, lay down.
Without the co-host.
It's all about the co-hosts, not us. Ben.
No. Never. Never.
All right, sit down, buddy. Come on.
So yeah, it's a good story. I mean, I don't know if should I just give it away, or do you think people might be interested in reading it if they haven't, or do they know about it? Like what? What do you think? The ending is very...
know. I mean, I feel like...
It's gruesome. You want to read it. If you haven't read it...
If you haven't read it, you need to read it. It's not a long read. It's not
No,
a
it's
long read
not.
at
It's only a
all.
couple
It's very
pages, I
short.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not long.
Yeah.
Probably takes about as much time to read as Eleonora.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, again, a
So,
couple of pages.
yep. Now he chimes in.
Lucian, now you're chiming in. Oh my goodness. So it's a really, really good story.
Yes. Hot Frog gets
and
revenge on the king and his courtsmen and in a
so
very gruesome way.
This king, I use those terms very loosely. He does have 7 advisors.
Yeah.
Basically, that he's constantly holding court with. The king likes to play practical jokes.
Yeah, to entertain his guests and
yeah, but they're
and
not funny.
yeah. One of them was forcing alcohol, down Hot Frog's throat and kind of watching him, and in a way that could be a manifestation of Poe's own relationship with alcohol, and the kind of the scrutiny he faced in that, problem he had in his life. So that could be somewhat symbolic there,
Sure. So I mean, and that is just to touch on that really quick, being in the circles he was in, social drinking amongst, literary circles, art circles, acting circles, the high society folk, if you didn't drink,
right.
You were looked at as like, what is wrong with this person here?
Right.
It's a very social thing. I mean, I think that is something that definitely has changed over the years, to some degree. But yeah, so I kind of sometimes feel like that's him kind of like poking at folks,
and and then facing the scrutiny for not being able to handle the drink for various reasons.
Allergies are a horrible thing.
Right. And just intolerance in general to alcohol, that's something that's, certainly difficult to face for someone that's kind of expected to drink in a social situation. And, this story has many layers, I think, that we could peel from it.
It really does.
The main one we're going to focus on tonight is the whole Irish St. Patrick's Day relation. And that's kind of where you come in with your
right. Well, I mean, it's more just like an Irish relation.
Well, in accordance to St. Patrick's Day having been published on the Irish holiday.
It was published on St. Patrick's Day,
maybe as a first clue to the Irish theme,
connection.
Connection, yeah.
So when I was younger and I first read this story, not knowing exactly where Trippetta and Hot Frog come from, other than the description of that, they came from a barbarous land that no one knew the name of, no one had been there, basically. And so my brain, the way my brain operates, I thought to myself, what if Hot Frog was a captured fairy? Because both he and Trippetta came from another place altogether that were not their home, and they were already captives. And then I thought, and they're supposed to be small. Well, one of the most common terms for fae, one of their many names that they're known by, is the wee folk. So it's, and fairy do come in all shapes and sizes, and they have different jobs and do different things. But I started to wonder if maybe perhaps they may have been members of the Unseelie Court. And so, of course, I have lived with that idea my entire life and brought it to you and thought, because we don't know where they're from.
No.
And it's easy to interpret however you want to look at it that way. But knowing what I do know about the Unseelie Court, they are earthbound. There's many different types of fae that make up the Unseelie Court, but it is known as quite a dangerous and gruesome place if you are not one of their members. So, when they talk about the Barbarous, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Are they members of the Unseelie Court that were captured somehow? Because they're here,
Right.
They may have been out wandering around and got snatched, and were trapped. But we won't give it away at the end of the story, but
Yeah.
that was just a little,
ending.
it was a little something as we've been discussing topics and things. And, especially since last week I did all by myself.
Yes. By your lonesome.
Cover, where Edgar's family came from, and he's not
his Irish lineage. Yeah, I mean,
yes,
yeah,
and there are other themes that we are going to touch on later on this year, having to do with folklore, not just of the fairy variety, but just folklore in general, where I've noticed certain themes here and there, which, as storytellers go, the more we talk, the more we understand stories, the more we hear stories told, we do find that there are lots of commonalities between various areas, and themes.
Right.
Where it's like, there's this story of this, element here. Oh, but, there's also a story like that. Like one of the biggest examples I use are the Deva, which are Persian, fairy in a sense. They're kind of sort of related to the will-o'-the-wisps, which are supposed to be very, very teeny tiny little fairies that are like on fire, basically, like little tiny stars or little tiny lights. So it's like, will-o'-the-wisp are, very, to the Isles there. But there's also something very similar to it all the way down in Iran, so it's, we're closer than what we think. So there's lots of different commonalities, but I do want to touch on some of those commonalities. Of course,
definitely.
Throughout the rest of the year. We have one coming up in May, which is awesome. Super excited about that. But yeah, so I thought, I was like, Hop Frog. It came out on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, and you made this very Irish connection.
I mean, for me, and I've discussed it with I've discussed it with a couple of other folks, and they're like, never thought about it like that before. But now that you say that.
Right, and I was kind of the same way, that it totally makes sense, and given
the ending.
Irish,
And given the ending.
Right.
Yeah, which everyone, if you haven't read it, please read it.
Yeah. Yeah, or at least just look it up so you can know what happens. But
because we're not gonna give away the ending.
Won't spoil it. Not this one. This one's kind of a good read, so I don't want to. Yeah,
I like it.
I
like Hop Frog.
I think Poe also would enjoy people finding their own interpretations of his works.
Sure.
I think he
Exactly.
did a lot of things intentional in his
Mhm.
works, which include direct references and, inspiration. But then there are
Mhm.
things he left a little open-ended that were more ambiguous so that the reader
Sure.
could pull their own conclusions and make their own
Mhm.
theories. And that's what Poe is all about, is
Yeah.
he invented that. He invented, the detective story. He invented the
Sure.
story, deduction and mystery and uh he gave his readers quite an experience. So here we are, you know,
Yeah. So
hundred
yeah,
and
that's just my
plus years
little
later,
yes, that's
and
my little
making our own ideas, right? Your own
yeah.
little thing. And it's really cool. And it fits right into the theme of this month. So, you
Yeah.
know, we encourage everyone right now, go get a Shamrock Shake at McDonald's. In fact, Poe wrote in a letter to Muddy about him enjoying a Shamrock Shake at McDonald's on his way back from Richmond on a business trip. So have a Shamrock Shake for Eddie and Muddy, and read Hop Frog.
You're so wrong.
He did. He enjoyed it very much.
Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Well, on that note,
Right.
I guess we should skedaddle on out of here. Levi,
Wrap this
thank you
up
for
and
being a good sport and
yeah,
coming and doing this with me tonight, even though you're not feeling too good.
I'm due for my Dayquil.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I muted myself a few times I coughed, but I'm
So on that note, I
trying to
definitely
harness
say
it.
to you, kind
Yeah,
sir, slancha.
right.
Enjoy that
Che-
enjoy
Cheers.
that
Oh,
dayquil.
I will.
Bottoms
Good
up.
night. Good
Yeah,
night,
good night.
everyone.
Good
Enjoy.
night, everyone. All right. Thanks for joining us with
Thank
Beyond
you
the
all.
Oblong Box. Come back next week. We will definitely have another episode waiting for you. So we'll
We'll
see
see you
you all
next time.
next week. All righty.
Bye.
Bye bye.